So when Governor Brown takes office, it's important to remember, too, that in 2007, 2008, 2009, this country was in a deep recession. And so people were having different time awful agencies having different time staffing patrol schedules. There were cops in the field. There were budget deficits nationally. All the local governments were running big budget deficits, and California was in a particular crisis. So Governor Brown had to close some of that budget deficit to save some money that the state of California didn't have, made a decision to shutter the Bureau of Narcotic Enforcement camp, which ultimately led to a reduction in staff. All of our manpower resources went away overnight and were reallocated to white-collar crime and cyber crime cases. So, what does marijuana cultivation in the state of California look like? And I don't want to offend anybody if I use certain terminology. If I start to offend somebody, please raise your hand. I'm going to stop. So this is traditional Mexican national marijuana grow on public lands. You can see the marijuana is kind of being grown in a random zone and interspersed with all the surrounding vegetation, hopefully making it the most effective part of the law enforcement officers to detect. Another Mexican national grow being cultivated on public lands. You can see it's very remote and rural area. And what's interesting in this slide, and I'll get to this in a second, it's hard to see, but there are black PVC water lines running all throughout the marijuana to provide fresh water to the marijuana plants. And what these organizations do in our national parks is there's like tap springs, they'll dam up creeks, and they'll divert all of those water resources to supply water to grow marijuana plants. It has direct havoc on the environment and all the animals that reside in our national parks. Another Mexican national marijuana grow. And then what it looks like from the ground. You can see how they don't completely clear cut the vegetation. These are all manzanita trees that they leave. It allows enough sunlight through to actually allow the marijuana to grow, but it prevents law enforcement officers from easily detecting this product from the air. This is a great picture of what one of these cultivation sites looks like when we go in and eradicate the marijuana. You can see the volume of trash and garbage and human feces that are left over in cultivation facilities, propane canisters, and then all of the insecticides and pesticides that are left over as well too, right, to keep any of the animals and insects from harming the marijuana crop. And many of these insecticides and pesticides have been banned in this country for decades, right? They're brought up from Mexico and used at these cultivation facilities, and these are incredibly toxic substances that are dangerous, very dangerous to the environment. The other thing that you see is all of this trash that's left over at cultivation facilities, all of these miles and miles and miles of PVC tubes, right? So in the mid-2000s, the decision was made that not only did we need to eradicate these cultivation facilities, but we needed to remediate them as well too, and return some of these cultivation facilities back into the pristine areas that they were at the park. Sounds like a great idea, and it was a great idea, except for the fact that for every dollar that I spent flying helicopters and putting boots on the ground to remove trash from eradication facilities, it was a dollar that I couldn't spend eradicating marijuana. So it was always a little bit of a trade-off. A lot of poaching of animals in these facilities. This was a bear cub that was found dead in marijuana cultivation facility. This is a grow that could be associated with a white trafficking organization. You can see how they clear cut the forest to grow their marijuana. You can see that instead of using PVC piping, you can see the holding ponds with water, and then underneath here you're going to see some sheds or tent-like structures, which is probably where they were maturing their clone plants so they get to the point where they could be replanted into the ground. What we see up in Northern California all the time in our national forests and on remote private properties where people come in and put in holding ponds and unpermitted roads. This is a facility in Northern California that would have probably fallen under the protection of the medical marijuana initiative. And so it would not have been rated by state and local law enforcement authorities, and it wasn't big enough to attract the attention of the federal authorities. So all of the marijuana that you see here in the top portion of this picture and what's in these greenhouses would ultimately be harvested and sold. And unfortunately, what you see in every single city and town in these northern California counties right now is every single house, almost every single house, has a marijuana grow of some form in their backyard. Part of the problem with this medical marijuana initiative is, for instance, in the county of Mendocino, each adult with a medical marijuana recommendation can grow up to 25 plants without fear of law enforcement intervention at home. A husband and wife can grow 50 plants in their backyard. 50 plants at the wholesale rate in Northern California, that's $150,000 a year of tax-free profit for working about 4 months. Begs the question, why in the heck would you ever take a logging job when you were risking your life and you had to work your fingers to the bone 365 days a year when you can simply throw some seeds in your backyard and make $150,000 with no effort whatsoever? Because any mature marijuana plant in the state of California is going to produce about a pound of finished marijuana. If you were aggressive enough, take your finished product down to the city of San Francisco and sell it to a medical marijuana club, you can get $9,000 a pound for that marijuana. It's about $450,000 a year tax credit. And these facilities will not be touched by law enforcement. This isn't part of that 7.7 trillion plants that we evaluate every year. All of this marijuana is going to be harvested and sold. So, disregard these 3 categories here. You can see that the amount of marijuana that we're seizing at the southwest border is actually decreased. The number of kilograms that we're seizing at the southwest border are decreasing year over year. That's a good thing, right? Well, it's kind of a good thing, but there's some problems associated with that. We're seeing the amount of marijuana that's being imported into the United States from Mexico decrease. Well, it's decreasing because the cultivation facilities now are largely in the U.S. And the byproduct of that is in Mexico, where much of this marijuana was produced way back in the day. All of those fields have sat idle for years and years and years. Well, now the cartels have figured out that it was a great idea to move the marijuana cultivation facilities north into the United States. And why let these fields be idle in Mexico? Why not produce something like opium poppies in Mexico? And so all of the areas where the marijuana was being produced in Mexico are now under cultivation with opium poppies. Mexico is second only to the country of Afghanistan in terms of opium poppy production, in terms of hectares under cultivation. Between 2016 and 2017, we've seen a 37% increase in the number of hectares under cultivation, opium poppy hectares under cultivation in the country of Mexico. So marijuana is a victim which I know you all just heard, right? Well, THC extraction labs. I don't know how many of you folks know much about THC extraction labs, but it's not really a new thing. I think the first lab that I saw was in 2005, and I'm kind of embarrassed to tell you that in 2005 I had absolutely no idea what I was looking at, and I had to ask the individual that I was taking to jail if he could walk me through the operation in his backyard so I could better understand what was happening. And he was very proud and excited to tell me all about it. So, the unfortunate thing about THC extraction labs is that we're not seeing meth labs in the state of California anymore. We're not really seeing meth labs across the country anymore. What we're seeing are these THC hash oil extraction labs. And they're exceptionally dangerous, and people are getting hurt, and people are getting killed, and property is being destroyed. In January of 2014, one of my enforcement teams gets called out to a hotel right next to SeaWorld in downtown San Diego. And this is a family hotel. And the report that we got as we were rolling out was that there was a meth lab that had exploded in this hotel. It's about 11 o'clock in the morning. So we get on scene, and 3 individuals are being transported to the hospital with severe burns, and the fire department is working aggressively to put out the fire. And at the site of the explosion, it occurred on the 2nd floor of this hotel. This is one of those hotels that has the open air walkway that runs around the exterior of the hotel, and all of the rooms kind of flow around that walkway. So the 4 rooms that surrounded on the 2nd floor of the explosion, they were all vaporized, they were completely destroyed. The 2 rooms above it were completely destroyed, 2 rooms below it were completely destroyed. And all of the windows along that wing of the hotel, most of the glass was shattered and broken out of and is now lying in the walkway. And so once the fire department had extinguished the fire, and my investigators got up into the room, we quickly determined it wasn't a meth lab explosion, it was a hash lab explosion. And so this was the inside of room 227 in downtown San Diego. And you can see the impact of the explosion blew out the wall on one side of the hotel room, and you can see the cases of isobutane here on the desktop. And the way hash labs work, or THC extraction works, is that you typically get a pipe, a PVC pipe or a metal pipe, and it's got a cap at the end with a small hole in the top and a petcock valve at the bottom. And you pack that pipe with marijuana shake. That's the leaves and stems. The parts of the marijuana that were traditionally discarded, not used, not the bud or the cola, but the leaves and the stems. You grind those leaves and stems up to form marijuana shake. You pack that pipe with it, and then at the top you introduce some sort of salt, usually isobutane. So the stuff that you would power a lighter, butane. Yeah. The butane, gravity feeds down through that marijuana shake, it strips away all of the THC. You crack the valve at the bottom, and what drains out of that pipe is pure THC and liquid butane. Kind of like the consistency of honey. Now, obviously, you don't want the butane, and so you've got to evaporate off the butane, and ultimately what you're left with is just that pure THC. Now, you've got to be really careful during this process because it can be dangerous. Butane is a pretty heavy gas. It explodes when it comes in contact with the flame, and it likes to hang low in rooms. So the one thing that you have to be cognizant of is when you're involved in this process is that you don't want to introduce a live flame. So you want to accelerate the evaporation process of butane. You want to do it gently on a hot plate. You don't want to do it with an open flame. So this particular gentleman and his girlfriend had rented the room on the other side of this room. That's where they were staying. They had rented this room as well too. That's where they were extracting THC with the process that I just described. Another view of the butane. That is a good depiction of a Cuisinart machine that was used to grind up all the marijuana leaves and stems, and what marijuana shake looks like in its finished form. And that's a great picture of hash oil and Pyrex plates that they use to help evaporate it off. And this is kind of what's left over of the room after the explosion occurred. So what happened in this particular instance is that there was a boyfriend and girlfriend in the room. They were extracting hash oil, and they were doing so since about 6 o'clock in the morning on 11 a.m. Thank God it wasn't 6 a.m. when the hotel was full, 5 a.m. when the hotel was full. About 11 a.m., this knucklehead decides that he's had enough, right? The room's been all closed off and all the ventilation is shut off. So it's now full of butane because they've been processing all day long. He decides that it's safe to go into the shower and light up a cigarette. So he goes into the back room here, walks, takes a right turn, goes into the top, lights up a cigarette, and the whole room explodes. Knocks down all the walls in the hotel. It was pretty impressive. And instantaneously, this gentleman and his girlfriend are on fire. And you can see she was standing right here next to the bed. Those are her flip-flops that she was standing in. The explosion was so hot that it fused her flip-flops to the carpet. So now both of these two folks are barefoot. And when you're on fire, you tend to panic. And so they run from the room within moments of the explosion occurring, and they begin to run down the exterior walkway of the hotel to get back to their room of residence, right? And this is a great example of the maintenance corridor linking the two sides of the hotel. You can see all the damages to the room on the other side of the hotel, not the room that they were conducting the extraction lab in. And then you can see all the glass on the walkway of the hotel. Now these two individuals were on fire as they were running. The male had a baseball cap on that was nylon. Well, it fused to his scalp. You can see his hair and his scalp has sloughed off as he was running back to the room. They ultimately get back to the room and they make it to the bathroom. You can see their feet are bloody. They hop into the bathtub to extinguish the flames and put out the fire, and ultimately walk back out to the front of the hotel and wait for the fire department to arrive so that they can be transported to the hotel. This is not ash that is in the top of this tub. That's human skin. That is This is the gentleman that was responsible for the explosion, who was in a medically induced coma for 6 weeks after the explosion occurred. Please don't do this. This is a great slide talking about potency levels. You can see the red line down here. Average marijuana THC concentrations. Outdoor and indoor marijuana, I can tell you right now, 12% is absurd in the state of California. It's all 20 and 30%, especially when you're talking about indoor marijuana that's being grown from clones, not from seed. And then the average concentration, you can see how it's spiking for marijuana extract and concentrated marijuana. I'll tell you right now, 55% is absurd. It's all 80% or greater. It's not the marijuana that was being smoked by the counterculture movement in the 1960s. Scheduling. So, Schedule 1 controlled substances are those substances that have no current medically accepted use, right? And they have a high potential for abuse. And that criteria, that's based on scientific and medical data, right? So marijuana is a Schedule 1 controlled substance. The FDA is responsible for scheduling medicines. That scheduling process, that approval process, that's the gold standard by which the rest of the world evaluates their own medical scheduling processes. It's all very thoughtful, deliberate, and grounded in science. In August of 2016, the DEA was asked to reevaluate, the DEA and FDA were asked to reevaluate marijuana in terms of whether or not it was appropriately scheduled in Schedule 1. The FDA did its own analysis, DEA did another analysis, and determined that it was appropriately scheduled in Schedule 1 of the Controlled Substances Act. So that's where it remains today. People say to me all the time, well, yeah, but if there was just more research associated with marijuana, if there was only more research, we would find that it has this magical medicinal value that can solve everybody's medical woes, right? And maybe there are compounds associated with marijuana that might hold medical value. Maybe there are, I don't know, I'm not a doctor. I can tell you though that of all of the Schedule 1 controlled substances that EPA regulates, we have 700 applications out now for research. 700 HHS approved applications for research. 499 of those, the vast majority, are for marijuana and marijuana extract. So we are all for research at EPA. And anybody who comes to HHS or EPA with a legitimate research application, those have all been approved. You can see all the states now that have some form of legalization, some sort of CBD authorization, outright decriminalization. And then the last thing I'll quickly talk about is some recent legislation. So I don't know if you guys follow what's going on the Hill right now, but Congress just passed a new law. It's the Agricultural Improvement Act 2018 Farm Bill, and basically what that does is it removes hemp from the Controlled Substances Act, and as such it removes EPA's ability to regulate it. Hemp is defined as anything with less than 0.3% THC. So what does that mean? Well, I don't really know just yet. I think we are struggling with it as a law enforcement community because it's going to provide some challenges for us that we just don't know how we're going to overcome just yet. So traditionally, if I were in a helicopter and I flew over a marijuana cultivation facility and I was able to see that there was marijuana in the field, I could write a warrant and go back and write a jail and this makes it harder to do because hemp and marijuana will look the same. So how do I differentiate between that as I'm flying over in a helicopter? If I have a tractor trailer pulled over on the side of the road and I have a dog hit on the tractor trailer and we open it up and lo and behold, it's full of bales of what looks to be marijuana, what smells to be marijuana, and the driver tells me it's hemp. Right now, U.S. law enforcement officers do not have a way to qualitatively test that marijuana to determine whether or not it's hemp or illicit. So we're struggling with this right now, trying to figure out how we're going to come to terms with this new reality. So that all being said, I know it was a little bit depressing. Not a lot of good information in terms of heading in the right direction. I will just simply say this, is that, and I speak for all of them, no matter what challenges we face, no matter what obstacles are placed in our path, U.S. law enforcement officers, we are always going to work as hard as we possibly can to make sure that we protect our communities and our citizens. We are never, ever going to give in. I think the takeaway for all of you this morning is just simply this. You have got to go back and help us convey the message to the members of your community. Talk to your community, talk to your families about the dangers associated with marijuana trafficking and marijuana use, and help them to make better, more healthy communities. Thank you so much for inviting me.
All right. Well, I think you all have a deep appreciation for the history that brought us to this point. What I'm going to do is I'm going to shift a little bit and now focus on some of the effects on the body and some other characteristics that I think it's important. As Patrick said, it's one thing about messaging that I think your community and your task is going to be. And hopefully I will give you enough information and data so that you can enlighten and maybe set the information straight. So I'm going to start off by talking about some of the effects on the body. And I break this down into three categories. The first category is subjective. I mean, you can't really quantify these particular conditions, but you can see it has some of the subjective nature of marijuana is that it alters senses, it alters time and space, it's forgetfulness during conversation, you have impaired memory, you can have anxiety, panic attacks, and these are like associated with high dose delusions, and again with high dose and hallucinations. So these are not quantifiable, but definitely they're suggestive of these effects when individuals are exposed to marijuana. Another way of looking at this is what are the objectives, and these are definitely, you can identify them and you can also quantify them. One of the major events of marijuana effects is a decreased psychomotor performance. And again, this is very critical because when you look at psychomotor performance, you're looking at complex motor skills like driving. And I'll show you later on in my presentation how that directly affects with driving and vehicular deaths. It also affects the interference with attention span and a loss of efficiency and short-term memories. Those last two can be identified by using what we did we did a human exposure study where individuals who were smoking marijuana immediately after removing from that environment were subject to pre and post exposure on a monitor and determined through a series of tests on a computer monitor. And we definitely showed there is a statistical difference with those two particular conditions. And then lastly, it's a physical. And again, these are, what does the drug do to the body in physical terms? And of course, it's psychological dependence, there's asthma, bronchitis, respiratory system damage, it creates an increase in appetite, you have tachycardia, bloodshot eyes, schizophrenia, we'll be talking more about that, and amotivational syndrome. So these again are the physical aspects of marijuana on the body. Next series of slides I want to share is with natural use data. As we go on, we like to share with everybody and know what is the extent of the problem, you know, and SAMHSA is very critical in terms of acquiring that data. We do it through the National Survey on Drug Use and Health. We do it on an annual basis. So a lot of this data is coming from that, as well as monitoring the future, which is another element. So in 2017, in people aged over 12, which is equivalent to 241 million people in the United States, approximately, 30.5 million people used illicit drug in the past month. And you can, excuse me. And as you can see, marijuana is the #1 abused illicit drug at 26 million individuals. So that again represents, first of all, that it's the #1 illicit drug use in the country, and you can see it's a huge percentage. When looking at a breakdown of those individuals by categories, you'll see that in this line this line right here represents the 18 to 25. In all four cases, every one of them is going up with the exception of the 12 to 17. Again, these are past month marijuana users. If you break it down into numbers, again, you're looking at past month. You see the 12 to 17 breaking down in the years 15, 16, and 17. You're looking at a decrease. But on the other two cohorts, between 1825 and 2620 and older, you see that the rise is incremental. So again, the problem is not diminishing, it's only enhancing. This last slide is very telling and very concerning. This is marijuana use among adults 25 and older. And this is past month use. So you're looking at years 2020, 15, 14, 16, and 17. Again, in past month use, that's 16.8 million individuals identified through our survey. This right here is where it worries me. This is past year daily or almost daily use. This is the definition of cannabis use disorder. You're looking at 5.3 million individuals. So that's a concern because, as you can see, this is rising. It's steadily rising. And so I worry that what 2018's data is going to reflect. We did a great job with teen use tobacco decrease. This is a slide from drug abuse NIH. And what is important to notice here is that since 1997, teen cigarette use has dropped considerably, straight line, 45-degree angle. But what has happened has been replaced steadily with marijuana use. So again, the trend it's crossed, and I fear that it's not going to go back down. Here's another slide that's very important. This is marijuana perceived harm. What's important about this slide is that as time goes on, and there is lack of perception that marijuana is harm to the body, that this particular trend is only going to incite a trend for increase. And again, my slides will show that that's exactly what's happening. So, as Patrick has indicated, he had a slide of the state of the United States. Here's a typical demographic breakdown of availability. The darker green shade is where it's legalized. The light shaded ones, green shades, are where it's medical marijuana, and the rest of the gray has no
legislative agenda, if not. So I made this slide because it really captures the percentage. So in 2017, there were 325 million individual, residents in the United States. There are 21 states that have laws permitting medical marijuana use of marijuana.